his eyes changed to like behind me, and he said, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Who's what?" He goes, "There's like a really big dark figure just standing behind you."
That wasn't me, was it?
I was like, "It's just not here."
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Half and Half Podcast.
Hey,
dude, happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah.
The day is upon us, our favorite holiday, and here we are working just for you guys.
I actually get excited to...
I should be eating a shit ton of candy right now, but I'm working.
That's what I was going to say. I get excited to give out candy, which is really weird. Like, why do I get excited about that?
Because Halloween's awesome. You want to see all the cute little kids and the costumes. I'm the opposite. My wife, this year, my kids are older now. This is probably the last year for trick-or-treating. But
like taking them to trick-or-treat?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was last year.
No. I thought. Because I said that last year too, right? And this year I was like, "What's up, buddy? What do you want to do?" He's like, "Dad, are you high?" I was like, "All right, we're going to do it."
That's cool.
But my wife opted to stay home, and she's always wanted to pass out candy. Our house, well, both of our houses that we lived in, very elaborate on the Halloween decorating. So she feels bad that we're like cock teases, dude. Like little kids are running by our house and fucking wah wah. Nobody's there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So this year she's gonna stay home and pass out candy.
No, that's cool.
Yeah,
I look forward to it. And then I always make a point to get the good stuff because I'm like, I'm going to be eating this shit too.
Right.
It's got to be the good stuff.
Whatever's left over or whatever you're picking at while you're passing them out. Yep. Do you guys get a lot of trick-or-treaters in your neighborhood?
Actually, so this is our third year there. But the first year was the pandemic.
Oh, you're right.
Or actually, no, I take that back. Oh, no, yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then last year wasn't very much because again, like I was telling you, like we're one of the only ones that decorate.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was weird. Instead of seeing kids coming up the street because, walking, it was like cars would like pull up and like get out and get the candy and then get back in the car and leave and not go anywhere else because it seemed like nobody else was giving out candy.
Yeah.
So, but I've heard from neighbors that in past years that it used to get crazy packed. That one neighbor even said that that there was a year where they actually like buses showed up full of kids.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't know.
It's kind of weird this year. Not too many people are decorating. Normally, my neighborhood, we have a lot of trick-or-treaters and a lot of people decorating. But this year, for whatever reason, not a lot of people have decorated.
That's what I was telling my wife.
It's fucking sad.
I don't remember what she said, but I was like, no, you can't tell me that there's... She tried saying no, that it's the same as always. I'm like, no, fuck no. Nobody is decorating at all.
No, I'll agree with you. Like I said, the block behind me, or in front of me, but the block over... There was always these elaborate houses and fucking, you can see them driving, right? You're coming up this one certain street. You can see their house from afar. Mm-hmm. Nothing, dude.
It makes me wonder why. I don't know. Like, am I the weirdo because I love to decorate? Or are you the weirdo because you're just like...
Well, but how all of a sudden?
Yeah. I think to myself, well, maybe people are on a tight budget, but then I realize there's also seems to be like a lot of people that used to decorate, obviously still have decorations that are just choosing not to do it. I feel like people are just, we live in a very weird time where I think people are just angry. And don't want to do those things anymore.
Is it that?
I don't know.
It's just weird, dude.
That's just, I try to rationalize it in my head.
Yeah.
And that's all I can think about. I mean, that's, I don't know. That's the only explanation I can come up with.
You might be right. Whatever the reason is, it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I love being in the Halloween spirit, but when people are fucking being boring about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I love just driving around and looking at houses.
Yeah, but you know what? The people that do decorate now seem to be a little bit more elaborate, which is really cool.
Yeah. I hate how people are showing off. I couldn't get one of those fucking skeletons this year.
Oh God, and there's people that have two
or three of them.
Dude, I've been trying for the last couple of years to get one. But now that I see that there are people with them, I kind of like, maybe I don't need it anymore.
I'm going to steal one like normal people.
So what's up? Well, it's been a couple of weeks. I know we were supposed to get together on Friday, but I had jury duty.
And I got called into training.
Yeah. So here we are, though. We did say we were going to do Halloween.
Yeah.
So
and last year we didn't get to do Halloween Day, so today we do.
Yeah.
And that's cool,
it's
right?
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So let's get... I think we should just get on to the scary stuff. So you want to just tackle
Or do you want to just do the results first and then get on to the scary stuff?
Well, that's what if I could finish.
Can I finish?
Can I finish? Can I finish? Yeah, let's get the chat out of the way. We'll get our results out of the way.
All right.
And then we'll get on to the scary stuff in celebration of Halloween.
Sounds good.
So you want to go first? You want me to do the chat first? What do you want to do?
Let's do the results first.
Okay.
And I say you give me your results first.
All right. So to recap last episode, I challenged Paul to listen to Lush, and he challenged me to listen to Pantera.
Yep.
And I had told you and our listeners that I'm not oblivious to Pantera. I like Pantera.
Right.
Far Beyond Driven is the album that I love the most. Vulgar Display of Power is probably number 2. But I honestly didn't take any notes because I can just sum it up into 3 words.
Okay.
I love it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean...
Well, okay, what was your approach? Did you do the regular approach of starting at the beginning?
No, I just shuffled this one, to be honest with you, because I didn't have the time to... Because you caught me on the week before. Is what we call our hell week. So I do nothing but straight days. And then I had that training.
What about the gay days? How are those?
Oh, those are every day month. I tell you what, there's no breaks. I fit that in forever. But yeah, I love it. It really brought home to me though. I don't know if you remember this, but this has to tie in with, the results, right? I don't want people to think I'm just going off. A few years ago, you were living at a certain house by your mom. And you had your small studio set up, and you wrote this one riff. And I always tell you, that's your fucking Dimebag riff. I know you don't remember what the riff sounds like now, but you have it buried in one of your computers. And listening to Pantera this whole time made me realize how much of a riffer you are, right? And I'm like, this is exactly why I fucking love him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you sound just like Dimebag. You have your own style, but it's nothing but fucking riffs, and I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, what's his name of the song? This is Love? Love? What's it called?
This Love.
This Love. That's still my all-time favorite Pantera song.
Really?
Ever fucking written. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much to say other than I love it. It's not like it was new to me, right? Like I had never heard Pantera or more than 2 songs, you know what I mean? I love it. I forgot actually how much I love them.
All right. We're back.
We're back. Technical difficulties, everybody. It happens.
So you love This Love.
Yes.
That's a great song. So let me ask you this, though. Did you listen to the last album that they did?
I don't know if I did. I just shuffled. So whatever came on, it was...
Because I struggle listening to that last album. Not that I don't like it. It has good songs. But I think... I don't know if you knew this or not, but... Like, they weren't even... That album wasn't even written as a band. Like, the band even recorded separately from Phil's, the singer's parts. Everything was just completely separate. So, I don't know. When I listen to it, it just seems... It's just not on par with the other albums. I don't know what it was.
So is this the album called Reinventing the Steel?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good album, don't get me wrong. It's just, I don't know. There's just something about it that...
Maybe because I'm not like, okay, I can tell if one of my favorite bands are writing separately, right? So maybe I couldn't tell because I didn't know the history all that well. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I don't know. Again, it's a good album. There's good parts, but it doesn't... To me, it's like... doesn't even come close to comparing to everything else.
Right.
But
well, you know what? Now that you mentioned that, I'll go back and just give that album an official listen to.
Yeah, I'm curious to what you think.
Yeah. But overall, man, I mean, like I said, I'm not surprised that I love them as much as it kind of brought it back for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I didn't realize how much I knew about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, they're great. I mean, their influence on rock is very evident to me now. You know what I mean? When people have always mentioned how great Pantera was with their riffing and just the little things that Vinnie Paul did, though they're not complex, they just fucking made that Pantera sound. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And then Phil, I thought he was like, his vocals were like, they're a good example of the perfect meshing of people. Groups.
I agree. Their screams, right? Like it's crazy what he does with his voice.
Yeah.
You know, effortlessly at that. Because you watch him do it live or on stage and it's like fucking nothing.
So Pantera for me was a huge influence. I mean, I saw them live 4 times.
Really?
When they were together. Yeah.
They came here 4 times?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
One with Rob Zombie, with White Zombie, with I think it was Anthrax, and then I don't remember the other one. But yeah.
Really?
Seen them 4 times. Was it Anthrax? Yeah, I think it was Anthrax. Yeah, they're, you know, I mean, I don't really listen to them as much as I used to. I'll throw on a song here and there every now and again. But, you know, growing up, playing guitar, being a kid, when I first heard them, I was like 10 years old. You know what I mean? 11 years old, around there. Mm-hmm. Maybe older. Maybe like 12, 13. And again, it was just... It was huge for me because I was hearing not only his riffs, his guitar riffs, and how unique they were, but listening to his guitar tone. That was huge for me because it was just like, how does he sound so great? I remember when I heard them, I was already kind of at that point where I was like over solos, hearing them all the time. I was more about the rhythm and the riff. And but when I started hearing his solos and how he did them, they were done differently. He actually put like somewhat like kind of like effects on his solo, like there's like a little bit of chorus or whatever, right? Like there was just something different about it, or he used he just did something different from the typical, like Metallica, for example, where when he does a guitar solo, it's like just wah the whole way through or whatever. I don't know. It was just very transformative in my mind in terms of like the way I saw how guitar should be played. Right. So it just kind of opened my eyes to possibilities.
Yeah. What I love about Pantera, years, many moons ago, there was a documentary. I don't know if it was like the VH1 Behind the Music. I don't remember. But Phil Anselmo was talking about how they got their sound. And what I loved about what he said ties into what I love about hip hop. I don't know if you remember a few episodes back, I went on to the history of the breakbeat. What's the same thing? Phil Anselmo said, you know, you have all these bands and there's that one great part, the breakdown. And he calls it the money riff. And he's like, so with us, we just said, well, let's just make the whole damn song the money riff. Right. And that's how they went with it. You know what I mean? So it's like that's just that constant fucking awesome downbeat, breakbeat style the whole time. Right. You know? So that was done on purpose, right? And that always stuck out with me for them.
Yeah, they're just such a good band. I mean, together, those dudes were just, I mean, it was meant to be.
And there's a reunion somehow, right?
Yeah.
Both brothers,
Zach Wilde and Charlie, I forgot his last name, from Anthrax are going to be playing.
You know, I love dad stories. I'm very close to my dad, right? And same thing, I think it was that same documentary. They were telling the story of, you know, everyone growing up, and Diamond and Vinny were big Kiss fans, but like their dad was at the center of everything. Painted their faces, took them to concerts, bought them their instruments. Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, their dad was at the forefront of just supporting them big time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad you like them.
Yeah.
I still do think you should really give that later album a really good listen.
Yeah, I'm going to now that you
just curious to see what you think as about it separately.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all right, so moving on to Lush. I didn't write a lot of stuff. So here's the thing. I threw on Lush and instantly I like it, right? Mm-hmm. I like Lush. Like, again, I can't name a song. I can't, And so I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I know you're probably not going to like this, but I couldn't... it was very difficult for me. For whatever reason, I could not find myself being able to say, like, oh, that's a good vocal line, or that's a cool riff, or like, how can I say it? Like, musically, it kind of just like all blends together and it makes for like a really good song.
If Tony can see me right now, I'm blinking very fast. He knows why I'm blinking fast.
It's a very good song. They're good songs. But they start to kind of bleed together, which is probably why I've never been able to like be like, oh, that's a Lush song. So I listened very, very intently, mm-hmm. and I started going through, and I feel like as I went through it, the song started to become a little bit more distinct. Yeah. I guess. Like, it's weird. Like, it's inevitable, like, that when you hear them, like, you're like, oh, that's Lush. Like, you just know, because there's not really anybody that sounds like them. There's people that sound, like, influenced by them, if that makes any sense. But I really struggled. No matter, I went through song, through album, and I really struggled to be, like, to pick out a song to be like, yeah, I like this song more than I liked song number one. Yeah, like I really struggled. Like
I struggle with that because I just love everything they do.
No, that's what I'm saying is like every song I loved.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is great. But there was just nothing distinct about their songs.
I can hum you like 90 riffs right now.
Well, like for me, like for example, like when I think about like The Cure.
Yeah.
You hear a love song, you know that song from like I don't know.
Dude, you like dun 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 dun. Oh, no,
I just
dun 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 dun.
It made me realize, like, and it might be a weird comparison, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I started thinking about like how I see like Warpaint is almost like the modern Lush in a weird way. But the difference between Warpaint and Lush is that I felt like Warpaint really does have very distinct songs. And I don't mean because Warpaint's not shoegaze at all. I mean in terms of like just female fronted, that raw, that vibe, that you get when you hear the songs. But I really struggled to like separate the songs from each other. I guess that's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't mean I didn't like it. I loved it. I think it's really good. But I realized, and you're going to hate that I'm going to say this right now.
I'm going to walk out of here, man.
I realized, like, to me, it's good background music. It's not like I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to thump this music.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm blinking really fast right now.
But again, I didn't dislike it. I just was like, it all kind of just started. It's almost like this one big blur.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. It's weird. It was very difficult. I even started writing notes, and like I didn't even know how to put it in words as I was writing my notes on it.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Don't get me wrong. Yes, you're right. They're not like this grand band, right? With huge fucking dynamics. I understand that. But man, like to say nothing stuck out. Like fucking Desire Line is like one of the best songs. A real slow song. No.
The only thing I could think of as I was going through it is perhaps it had something to do with the production quality, even though I know that's what they're going for. I said you're gonna do it. I mean, it's kind of like I just recorded this band a few days ago. We just wrapped up, okay? and they're very rock 60s sounding.
Yeah.
And their whole intent of their sound, and I keep using that word, is like I hate it when I use a word, and for whatever reason, everything I say I get stuck on using that word again.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyways,
if anybody can see Paul, his hands are on fire right now.
So these guys, they wanted like a dirty sound, like, you know, the old school sound.
Right. Everybody sets up, plays at the same time, records, basically what we call live. You're recording live.
Yes.
They're playing as a band instead of one by one.
Right. I mean, we still did one by one eventually, but there was no click track. You know, and so it was fun. It was like a very fun project to do. And, it was just a good time. I had a really good time with it. But anyways, when it was all said and done, I got one of the best compliments I think that a music producer can get, and it came from my sister-in-law, who, Selena. Hey, Selena.
Hey,
you know, she said that when they were listening to it at the shop, she was like, I was able to hear every single instrument clearly.
Yeah.
Which is what the goal is, right?
Right.
And I feel like with Lush, not that you can't hear every instrument clearly, I feel like it's the recording quality brings it all to this.
I'm going to say...
jumbled.
Let me interrupt you there. I don't think it's the production quality. It's the effects. Because the shoegaze genre for guitar players, heavy reverb, heavy chorus. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's very cathedral, right? Like,
right.
It's the Holly, right? It's got that hall sound. So I think you're that's what you're getting. Because, yes, you do get lost in, like, heavy effect, right? Because it sounds very... drony, very swoony, right? You see what I'm saying? So like,
yeah.
I think that's what you're.
And it could be the fact that back then, so it's gonna get a little technical, so I don't want to bore anybody.
I'm already bored.
Nowadays, when you do like a delay, for example, you sync it with the actual BPMs of the song,
right?
And it sounds perfect, and which is why you want to, you know, use a click track, for example. You want it to be to where everything is lined up perfectly and so pleasing. Mm-hmm. Back then, you couldn't do that. I mean, you could, but a lot of bands didn't, and then you couldn't do it in post. You couldn't fix it if they did it wrong.
Right.
So sometimes when you have delays and reverbs all kind of meshing together, it can become a little messy. And yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that is part of it.
Yeah, because their shoegaze again is very effects driven, right?
Yeah.
Really Holly. So we know, as I'm not a music producer, but I'm a musician. So we know as...
And when you say Holly, he means Hall.
Yeah, like a hall. Sorry. Like a giant hall. You know what I mean? The echo, the you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's very driven that way. Mm-hmm. So it muddles a lot of things.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when you have both guitar players with that sound,
right,
it gets kind of...
And then her vocals were very...
Amazing? Go on.
No, her vocals are great, but again, like also, they were not like up front, like center stage, the way you want a vocal to come through on a recording. They were also very mixed, very low into those mixes.
Well, I mean, go back to My Bloody Valentine. It's the same way, right? Like you can't really tell... I'm not that you can't tell what she's saying, but there's no like... It's not a melody vocal driven style of music.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's why I struggled.
You know, it always reminds me of I love shoegaze. It's one of my favorite genres. Mm-hmm. And my buddy Tony at work, he likes shoegaze also. And one day he was like, we were talking about Fugazi. I fucking love Fugazi. And I don't know how we got on it. He's like, dude, we should start a band and we should call it Shoegazi. You know where shoegaze got its name from, right?
Where? I was wondering that.
They say people who play that genre of music are sad, melancholic type people.
Right.
And they're always just looking downwards. So people say they're gazing at their shoes.
Ah.
So it's called shoegaze.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how it's like an actual genre.
Yeah. Very distinct.
I got into a little heated debate with my little brother. Jason.
Fuck Jason.
Over genres. And, well, he's the one that got heated. I was not heated. I was just trying to get my point across.
There's no need to get heated when you're right. That's what I tell people. Why aren't you mad? Because I'm right. I'm not going to argue with
but
you.
it wasn't music genres. We talked a little bit about music genres. We were talking more about like movie genres. Mm-hmm. And I just hate how the same thing with music has happened where you have so many subgenres and it just becomes like stupid. And to me, I don't know. Anyways, I just thought about that.
I agree with you.
But shoegaze, though, which is my main point for bringing that up, shoegaze, I feel, has established itself as a pretty legitimate sound or a genre that really, when you hear a shoegaze band, you can say, yeah, that's shoegaze.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, as opposed to like post pop punk hardcore, like, I don't know.
There's all this weird post shit to you kids, but to us, you're ripping off our music that we love forever.
Exactly.
There's no post.
Your post is that you're trying really hard to sound like somebody that did it 20 years before you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not a post. The shit's still around.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly.
Thank you.
So anyways, but so that shoegaze sound is very distinct.
Right. And
Lush is obviously at the forefront, I think, of that movement.
Yeah, shoegaze has been around for a very long time, but they
like before them.
My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Cockatoo Twins are also considered.
Dude, yes, that's true. Because you know what? It's so funny you say that. There's this one song from Cockatoo Twins that it's like I just love it so much. I can't even remember what it's called, but every time that song comes on. But the other day, the reason why I'm bringing that up is the other day it came on, and for a second there, I was like, "Is it Lush?"
Yeah, see what I mean?
Like, and I was like, "Oh no, that's not Lush. It's Cockatoo Twins."
Yeah.
It's such a good song. I'll find it afterwards so I can show you.
Yeah,
I like it's so good. I would love to cover that song somehow.
We need to be in a band to cover things, man. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, my final thing is I really
you're working on guitars. You can have them in the background, right? You're cleaning the house. You can have them in the background.
Of course, absolutely. Okay. I love that style of music. I love the way they sound. It's just not like. I guess the most important thing is like. I can't find myself singing along to their songs because there's no like distinct like.
I'm gonna hit you.
I don't know. It's so weird.
Shake, baby, shake. I know I can fit you. Come on, it's fucking catchy.
It's kind of like jazz. You know, when you're listening to improvised jazz, you know, you don't know where it's gonna go. And I kind of felt the same way with Lush. I kind of felt like it all just kind of meshed, production wise, and kind of even just the flow of it all. But not to say I don't like it. I do like it. Yeah. I actually like it a lot. I can't sit there and I don't know.
Well, no one's ever accused you of having good taste. So, I mean.
That's true. But
right.
anyways,
so overall, you like them?
Yeah.
I mean, you had heard them before, right? It's like with the Pantera thing. I knew who obviously.
Yeah.
But I just wanted you to kind of. I'm trying to push you into that realm of why. You know, you and I have known each other for fucking ever, and the bands we do love together, we indulge in. But the bands that I love, that you know I love, I want you to see why I love them, right? Because I was a Lush head while you were a fucking Pantera head when we were in high school.
Which is why it's a perfect...
you know what I mean?
That's why it was a perfect challenge.
Yeah.
Are we going to present another challenge?
Honestly, I didn't prepare anything this time.
Man, I was so excited to give you this next one.
I could think of one.
Well, think of it.
Well, all right. Let's move on while I'm thinking about it.
Move on to what?
The Shat.
Oh, so all right, we're gonna end the challenge results then, and then we'll go into the Shat, and then we'll present another challenge. That's a weird formation change, Adrian.
Okay, well, you know what? Tell me a story then.
Okay, how about I just challenge you already?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna talk about this band and what they mean to me.
Oh man, I'm scared.
Growing up, getting into metal music, getting into music that made me want to play guitar. There's a group of bands that, and I don't think it's definitely not unique to me. I think a lot of guitar players that started off around this time started in the same way. What ends up happening is that, let me go back. I remember during that time as a kid, I would listen to like metal bands, and adults at the time thought that it was trash. You know, they thought it sounded, and I'm going to quote, my uncle said one time, that my music sounded like somebody who was throwing a guitar down the stairs.
Uncle Arthur said that?
No, my other uncle.
On your mom's side?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't understand that reference because for me as a guitar player, what really made me start to respect a lot of these artists was being able to, or making an attempt to play the music. Mm-hmm. You think it sounds like, you don't realize the complexity until you sit there and try to learn it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
And so if you're not a musician and you're listening, I don't think you can truly appreciate the skill or what you're actually hearing to the same level of somebody that has attempted to learn it. Mm-hmm. Right. And so what I'm trying to get at is that as a up and coming guitar player and trying to find my way and learn how to play guitar, I gravitated towards those that were a little bit more complex because those were the ones that I had a bit more appreciation for. Mm-hmm. So, of course, naturally, it was like, Metallica, Pantera, which we've already spoken about, right? Mm-hmm. Those are bands that when I would listen to it, I couldn't just pick up a guitar and start playing it. I had to sit there and practice for days and days and days, and sometimes even weeks to be able to even get halfway through a song.
Right.
But that also is what helped to build not only my skill, right? Mm-hmm. But I also feel like it helped to build like my guitar playing character, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So this one band that I'm going to challenge you with is a band that was in that mix that I feel played a very, very, very significant role in how I play guitar, I think even today. Mm-hmm. But this one, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Pantera, I'm gonna let the whole shuffle slide, but this one I feel like you've gotta go from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay.
And listen to, I'll give you the album that you can listen to at least, because I'll be honest, like the later albums I haven't really given much listen to.
And you brought me the band that I want to give you, because you're giving me history.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you my history.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, but go ahead.
So this band is gonna be Megadeth.
Ew.
Dude.
Oh, gross.
No. It is not gross. It is amazing. Kidding. It is Megadeth was huge for me.
Again, you are hitting. I'm telling you, dude. I'd be in the shower. I'm always thinking about you while I'm naked, mm-hmm. and I would be like, "Huh, I wonder why he hasn't hit me with Pantera yet." And I said, "Huh, I wonder why he hasn't hit me with Megadeth yet." I don't know if you're just saving him, but
no, of course.
There's certain bands that I'm already anticipating.
Because if you notice the history of these challenges, I kind of started with like newer bands that I listened to that you didn't give a chance, and now I'm kind of going back a little bit.
Yeah,
and then I'm gonna do some in between, some later.
Okay, yeah.
But Megadeth, dude, like again, I think a lot of people's first go-to is to listen to vocals, right? Mm-hmm. And even though Dave Mustaine, who for anybody listening, I'm sure everybody listening knows this, Dave Mustaine originated in Metallica.
Yeah, he got kicked out.
Yeah,
in New York.
Matter of fact, I read an
plane ticket at him.
I read an article the other day where he was saying that he was pissed for a long time, and one of the reasons why he was pissed was because he knew that like Kirk Hammett was getting royalties for riffs that he actually wrote.
Yeah.
But anyways, dude, when you sit down with a guitar in your hands and you try to learn certain bands' music, Megadeth was a very challenging one for me.
Right.
Very challenging, which added to my appreciation for them. Not to mention, like, I love them. You know, I liked his vocals. But again, even back then I wasn't a vocal. I wasn't really paying attention to the vocals. I was paying attention to the music. I really want you to really focus on the album called Peace Sells.
Peace Sells.
It is my favorite album from them. Even to this day, when I hear the beginning of that album,
son of a bitch, this is a fucking discography. It's gonna take me a month.
Well, I only want you to go up to the Countdown to Extinction album, which is right there.
So from 85 to 92.
Because I'm gonna be honest, that's kind of when I stopped listening. I didn't really care much after that. Because that's when I grew onto other things. You know what I mean?
Corn. Deftones.
And what year was Countdown to Extinction?
92.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Rust in Peace.
Dude.
I would love to be in the room to, what are we gonna name this album? I got it. Rust in Peace.
Well, actually, what's
banger.
funny is that when you listen to his lyrics, he's actually very political. He's very like sensical in his lyrics and talking about like just the problems with the world and stuff. He's actually, Dave Mustaine is like a smart motherfucking dude.
Yeah.
Very, very smart, very educated, like maybe not traditionally educated. Actually, I think he kind of is, but he knows his shit. He's not just like a dummy that's just like,
that's a lot of people,
singing
man.
about death and stuff. Like,
I'm smart as fuck. I don't have a degree.
no, I know, but what I'm saying is like he translates his intellect into his lyrics.
Yeah.
So actually,
And I'm a lyrics guy, so if you're trying to turn me on and get amped up for this challenge, okay, I'm in.
it's.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, I know who Megadeth is.
Yeah.
I know the story. You know what I mean? Symphony of Destruction. Like, I've heard their music.
I can actually listen to Megadeth, go back and listen to Megadeth, and tolerate it more than I can going back and listening to Metallica.
Really?
Yeah, just because it just brings back those memories of like discovering how amazing the guitar work was. Back in the day, it was Marty Friedman and Dave Mustaine, and Dave Mustaine I think wrote most of it. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, man, like,
Okay, I'm in.
all right,
Yeah. I've been anticipating this style that you're throwing at me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I get Megadeth. So for you, now, I know you're a fan, like a legitimate fan, but your point started like at fucking point C, and you're like at point F. Even though I don't think even the last 3 albums you've taken a deep dive into. 1, 2, 3. I think it's like 4 now at this point.
Okay.
But the first half, 82 to 91, I don't think you've ever really paid attention to.
If it's who I think it is, I have a feeling I think I know who it is. I probably did, but go ahead.
Really?
Yes, I want to see.
You know who it is.
No, who?
The fucking Chili Peppers.
Yes.
Oh.
Dude, I heard the Chili Peppers in the 80s. Eric showed up with a fucking cassette and was like, I don't know, like, for some reason I like this, but I kind of don't. And it was, I think, like their first fucking album. And I used to listen to it all the time.
Self-titled, 1982.
It was, I don't even know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But it was weird because I would listen to them and I was like, why do I like this? I shouldn't.
Okay, but you're remembering one album from childhood. I'm talking about
No,
going from
yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
self-titled
Right.
all the way to Mother's Milk.
No, yeah, I need to-
Freaky Styling, Uplift and the Mofo Party Plan. You know
All
what I
right.
mean? Like,
Actually, that's exciting to do.
yeah. Even, I mean, you loved, from what I know you loved Blood Sugar.
Everybody did. Who
And
didn't?
and I know you loved all the way up to Californication. To this very day, I cannot.
Oh, whoa.
Exactly, dude. To this very day, I cannot fucking hear that song and not go, whoa, after he says that part. So, anybody listening, the Chili Peppers are my favorite band.
Yeah.
When they got back together with John Frusciante, it was Californication. And one of the best songs is Californication. And the part goes, Dream of Californication. And Paul would always go, I don't know why, but I feel he should go, oh, whoa, right after. So every time I would listen to that song, you would go, oh, whoa, and look right at me. So ever since then, I could not sing whoa after that.
See what I'm saying? If he would have done it, everybody would be singing along.
Oh, shit.
No, yeah, this is exciting, especially because actually I just listened to. I haven't been listening to a lot of podcasts at all lately, but I did catch when he was on Joe Rogan.
Oh, Anthony Kiedis.
Yeah. Anthony Kiedis just seems like one of the coolest fucking guys ever.
He does.
Like,
He really does.
I want to be his friend real bad.
Absolutely.
But I don't know, just super laid back, he's a thinker, you know? I don't know. Just great guy.
Yeah,
I love the
absolutely.
story. I didn't know the story
Of the
until
band?
I heard,
Really?
his story into the band until I heard that podcast.
Yeah.
So anyways, it just, listening to him talk, I was like, God, I should really listen to Chili Peppers more often.
And look, John Frusciante is fucking God's gift, right? Like, he's an amazing guitar
Yeah,
player.
he really is, yeah.
But for true Pepperheads, fucking Hillel Slovak is like, whoa. So I want to hear what you think about. They're kind of similar, right? I mean, John Frusciante came out saying that, you know, he likes or was influenced by.
When was that switch made?
Oh, when Hillel Slovak died, he 1, 2, 3. John Frusciante's first appearance was Mother's Milk, so the album before Blood Sugar.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
He died of drugs, I'm assuming.
Yeah, heroin overdose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's weird that he's not talked about more often. Maybe because all the hits came out after.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you really think about it. Blood Sugar was the album that fucking took them to the top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, you think about it, they were signed in 82.
Because that was the Rick Rubin album, right?
Yeah. I mean, and even, when did Chad Smith come on the scene? Because Chad Smith's not the original drummer. Right?
Yeah, I knew that.
Jack Irons was the original drummer. So Jack Irons was on the...
And now it's Will Ferrell.
Now it's Will Ferrell, yeah. Chad Smith left, Will Ferrell's back in. But yeah, I mean, my whole musical existence is due to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They are one of my all-time favorite bands. Flea is my all-time favorite bass player. So, you know, you were talking about your history and trying to learn shit. Try learning a fucking Flea bass line when you're 15. It's fucking impossible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's awesome. No, I'm excited about this one.
Yeah. So, again, if you want to skip 91 through 2000, I'm cool with that. I want to go through it all. I know you've heard, by the way, stuff from Stadium Arcadium.
Yeah. I'm going to do justice to them. They're your favorite band.
Okay. Awesome. So Megadeth versus the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Give it away now.
And you sang that song the other day.
Yeah, I did. Right? I did karaoke the other night.
Paul went to a Halloween party at his brother's house, our other business partner.
I was telling Eric, he
went to town.
I was telling Adrian that I had to sing it because I had Adrian on my mind, and I was like, if Adrian was here, what song would he want me to sing?
Was that Saturday?
Yeah.
How weird is that? What did I text you yesterday?
What?
So, everyone knows, right? You and I are musicians, obviously. Mm-hmm. I write music all the time. Mm-hmm. Whether we use it or not is another story. That's Paul's fault. I'll put it out there. So, you were thinking about me while singing a Chili Pepper song. Mm-hmm. I was writing a song on GarageBand, and I was thinking about you. Gay.
Yeah, that's all right. But I don't know, man. Next time use Pro Tools and think about me.
Oh, is that your only hang up?
Is that
your only hang up? Never mind what I actually wrote. You were worried about the production.
And I really liked it too, what you wrote, by the way.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
When I was done, well, I'm still not done. I stopped and I get like, I black out, right? I just get in the zone. I'm not worried about what I'm writing, what style it is, nothing. I just go with it. Yep. And then I sit back and then I listen to it again. And that's when I was like, man, this is totally shit Paul would like.
No, yeah, it was really good. I waited to listen to it to like when I was in a quiet place.
Yeah, I don't really write happy music for the most part. And this was kind of uppity for me.
It was good.
You know what I mean?
All right, let's get into the chat so we can get into the scary stuff.
Okay. And today on the chat, I bring to you a band that I've loved for, I'm going to say about 2 years now-ish. They've been around for a while. Let's see what their discography looks like. 1, 2, they have 3 full albums. 4 full albums. The 4th one just came out. What I love about this band is they're a metal band. They mix a mesh of punk, hardcore, black metal style blast beats. Biggest thing I love about this band, again, dun dun dun, shocker, female vocalist, but she's not the traditional female vocalist. She is the lead singer / drummer. So she drums and sings and screams at the same time. But she does it fucking awesome. I love her voice. Anyway, the band I'm talking about is a band called Brutus.
Brutus?
Yeah. They're fucking Utus.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just love their heaviness, their style of heaviness. I love her voice, the things she actually can accomplish while drumming and singing and screaming at the same time for that.
That's unique.
Yeah, they're very like I said, they're heavy music, but at times they feel very grand and like pretty, and I don't know, I can't explain it. Like they do some pretty grand stuff for being a 3-piece, you know what I mean? So when they get instrumental and she's not singing, the music is just fucking phenomenal.
I'm
For
curious.
me, anyway.
I'm really curious now.
So yeah. So today on the chat, the band is Brutus. If you're into that style of music, heavy, pretty, sometimes screaming, great singing, this band is for you. Check them out.
Awesome. I listened to the one that you mentioned last time, Bleed.
Oh yeah.
Weren't you like curious to see what I thought?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I couldn't.
I knew you were gonna fucking say that. But you didn't hear the hum in it?
Yeah, it was just too Deftones-ish.
How do you figure?
There was like, I don't know, there's something about it that was just too like Deftone new metal-y. I don't know. And not to say it was bad. It wasn't bad. I was like, yeah, like, oh, that's cool. That sounds cool. And then all of a sudden they would go into something that I was kind of like, a little disappointed right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not shocked. Again, no one's.
Not to
ever
say I
accused
didn't
me.
like them. It was just not for me.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
I thought for sure. I read you wrong. Normally, I go into it like, he's gonna fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I had hopes for this one.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought you were gonna be like, you know what, dude? Out of all the shit you bring me, you know what I mean? Because you can
All the shat.
all the shat. You can hear the hum. You can hear the far. There's some helmet in there.
And I think that's why, though. I
There's
think
a
it was.
Scotia quicksand.
I think it
in
was too blaring.
there. Really.
You know, I'm real big on that. It's one thing. Again, I've said this many times. To be influenced, it's nothing to sound intentionally, almost intentionally. I don't know.
I don't know if it was intentional.
No,
on
I know
their
it
part.
wasn't, but it was just too blatant.
Okay. Well, at least you tried.
So I struggled.
Yeah.
I want to talk about real quick before we get into the Halloween stuff. There is a band here from El Paso that I have just fallen in love with their music. Maybe not your cup of tea.
It is. And
Really?
Yeah, dude. I love that.
When I
style of
first
music.
heard them, I was like, ugh. I didn't like it at all.
I'm an '80s kid. I
Yeah.
love that style of music.
But dude, then so the band that I just recorded was played with them on Saturday night, and for whatever reason, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I heard something about that band. I'm gonna give them another listen. I like to give bands, especially locally, I like to give them a listen. Just, I don't know, it's cool to just discover stuff, right? But I went back and listened. For whatever reason, it was weird. It was like the first time I ate sushi. I was like, that was. Oh, what did I just eat? And then like 2 weeks later, all of a sudden I was like craving it, and I went back and I love sushi ever since.
I
right?
had the same effect, but it wasn't with sushi.
Sucking dick.
It's like it feels weird in your mouth, and you're not too sure. And 2 weeks later, you're like, "Yep, I'm in."
Yeah. So that's kind of what happened with this band. Anyways, they're called the 1-800, and I really like what they're doing. I really, really do.
So, yeah, they're very. To me, it's like that. The good thing about the '80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That gives you that feeling, that feeling of like, I don't know, a good 80s song will give you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you told me about them a while back.
Yeah.
And yeah, I went in and I listened when you recommended them, and yeah, I liked them a lot. They're very good.
Yeah. So give them a listen. The 1-800.
Oh, the Shat times 2 now, and now you're taking that over?
No. The Shat 2.0. I'll call mine instead of the Shat. I'll call it the P. The alleyway piss.
I'm always down for your pee, buddy.
All right. Let's get into the Halloween stuff. It is Halloween.
All right. So I want to get started. Again, this is our Halloween episode. We like to talk about scary things, personal ghost stories for Paul anyway, because I thank the Lord have not experienced any. But what I did want to bring up...
Yet.
No, fuck you. Yeah, right. I tell you, dude. No, there's no way. My wife can kick me out tomorrow. And if your house is the only house I have, rest assured I'm sleeping in my car.
Well, you have a studio here.
Oh, there you go. I'll
Go
stay
sleep
here.
on the couch. I would love that because I have a camera facing that couch. I just be able to look at that camera and watch you sleep.
And I would intentionally sleep in the nude on my side so my ass could be facing that camera. So, I don't know if we spoke about this movie on our last one. Did we talk about Terrifier on our last podcast?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
That was a damn good movie.
You saw part 2?
No, I saw part 1.
Oh, shit, my ninja. Let me tell you. Okay. So I'm sure people have heard the hoopla about the Terrifier. One movie first movie in a very long time that is making people physically sick, pass out at the theaters, ambulance call, the whole nine. So, do I give the full history of this guy or no? Because I went fucking deep.
I mean, you can. It's up to you.
Real quick, he's the clown serial killer that everyone's seen around lately because of people's reactions to this movie. Terrifier 1 came out in 2016. He was featured in a movie in 2012 called All Hallows Eve, which is how he got his start. That movie, the response to him in that movie spawned him having his own movies, right? So Terrifier 1, you saw it, I saw it, my wife hated it. I fucking loved it.
Of course she did.
I thought it was great.
Of course she hated it.
Very cool things happen. It's very campy. It's very B movie. Part 1 I'm talking about.
That's what I liked about.
Me too. There was all but like 12 actors in there. The budget was probably $40 on this fucking movie.
Yeah.
But it was a good movie, right? If you're into like campy 80s style horror movies, you know, a lot of blood, a lot of shit, whatever. Part 1 is good, tolerable. Now, part 2, I'm not going to say much because I didn't know you hadn't seen it yet. We saw it on Friday. Dude, the fucking budget went up hard, and that movie was fucking awesome.
So one of the things I heard was that the director purposely did not want to use like CGI or anything.
Yeah.
So everything's like...
Old school.
Yeah.
Think about the effects from the first, but on a greater scale, right? It's not as cheesy as the 80s were, but like you think about the cool shit that they did with Evil Dead in the 80s when Friday the 13th first came out, shit like that. That's what it looks like,
right?
But on a better scale,
right?
Because you know we're in 2022 now. But Terrifier 1, there wasn't a whole lot of substance, right? There wasn't a story behind it. It was literally this dude just running around killing people for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah.
The story is told in this movie. There's actual substance. There's a plot. There's fucking great dialogue. Like, it's a movie now.
Wow.
As to where part 1 felt like pure shock value, right?
Kind of like if I decided to do a horror movie, it's probably what it would come out like.
When we do a horror movie.
Yeah.
You and that
just kind of
this guy.
Just kind of I don't know, more for just like wanting to film cool scenes and not really focusing on the dialogue.
Right. But this one, dude.
Because those scenes, like the gory scenes, were pretty fucking gory.
Oh, this one's times a million.
Wow.
Again, how people were passing out and shit, I don't know. People who are just do not watch horror movies at all. It was nothing to me. But the story, the plot, the way the movie was filmed, the camera work was a whole lot fucking better. You know what I mean? It didn't look like it was done on the shittiest camera known to man.
Yeah, on part 1, I did struggle a little bit because you can tell like the lighting was off or certain things were like, you can tell it's very amateurish.
Big time.
Which is like I say, that's why I say if I were to do a movie, it would come out probably pretty amateurish.
I wouldn't let it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so, well, man, I thought we were going to have this big old talk about it. But Terrifier 2 is fucking incredible.
I need to watch it.
Incredible.
Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Like, you can tell before, like I said, part 1, I was just kind of like, okay, he's a fucking weird guy in a clown suit.
Yeah.
But now you get more, you can see he's a little bit of Michael Myers. He's a little bit of fucking Freddy Krueger. He's like, it's crazy.
My wife struggled watching it just because she has a really crazy fear of clowns.
Then she's not going to like this one.
She really struggled. She was like looking down at her phone like 80% of the time.
She's not going to like this one.
But I was like, I don't care if you don't like it. You can go to another room if you want because I am loving this.
You're going to love this one.
Awesome.
Fucking, I mean, he's now in my tops. Like, this is a slasher fucking film. Dude. Like
big
fucking
time.
slasher
Oh, well,
film.
even the first one was.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, this to me solidifies his spot in the slasher franchise. Like, you put him up there.
And this is where Jason and I got into an argument because we were actually talking about those genres. Anyways, we got into an argument because I was like, I didn't understand the difference between a psychological thriller and a psychological horror or gore or something like that. And I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to get into that, but
But yeah, highly recommend it for anybody who has not seen it.
Awesome.
I personally cannot watch movies starting at part 2.
Right.
I highly recommend watching part 1 first and then going on to part 2.
I don't know why I got all lazy.
Yeah, because you're drinking a Bai.
I know.
You're not even Bai. You're full gay.
I didn't have time to make a coffee or buy one either.
You should have told me. I would have stopped by on the way. Yeah?
I didn't think about it. All right. What else before we get into the stories?
That's it. That's all I wanted to bring
Where
up.
did I leave off last time?
Oh, we didn't tell. We started talking about the new occurrences at your house, but we didn't specify.
And my dad, we were talking about my dad, what he saw, what he experienced.
Yeah, we didn't tell what all went on.
All right. You want me to get into it then?
Yeah, absolutely. You can get into this anytime you want.
All right. So
you're gonna wake the fuck up. I tell you what.
I don't know why I just got all sleepy. So we talked about the things that my dad saw and how he acknowledged. Who my dad before that was, I don't want to say a non-believer, but he was like you. He had never experienced anything. So he kind of believed in it,
right,
but never had any firsthand experience encountering anything until the night before he moved into my house, which was in 2020, I think. Anyways.
Yeah, because at height of COVID, that's what you were very worried about.
Yeah. And then a little bit of context again. If you haven't listened to, first of all, you need to go back and listen to our episodes from last year around this time in October. And then you can listen to our last episode where I kind of build up to what we're talking about now. And so my dad had played a significant role in all of this. And you'll understand why. You know, my dad passed away in June of this year. So, context again, guy that killed himself in my house, and we encountered all kinds of shit. Same thing with my wife. My wife had never experienced paranormal until we moved into that house. She never, she had never experienced anything like that until we started experiencing those things. So that's how we knew right away. We made the connection to Patrick killing himself. So I spoke about my dad's experience, what he saw, spoke about how he acknowledged that he would hear and see things there at the house all the time. But he really wasn't he was like us. He wasn't afraid of it. He just acknowledged that something weird was going on, but didn't really call much attention to say oh my God, it's scary or anything like that. Right.
Yeah.
Also remind me to let you to get into what my daughter told me later on, because we tried to keep all of this from her. We didn't want
Oh, is that what my note is? There's a note here that said Felix experience.
Oh, okay.
Because you had told me last time.
Yeah.
So that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
So again, we spoke about all the little happenings. As my dad got sicker, he was diagnosed in October of last year with cancer. And towards, the beginning of this year, things started to kind of speed up in terms of how ill he was becoming. What's really weird is all of the occurrences started to kind of speed up as well. I can't even describe it. It was just there was always something happening, and it just became, every single day, it just became more and more obvious, more and more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not only obvious, but grander, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
You go from a little knock to banging, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Or just crazy stuff. So I'm gonna kind of fast forward to when my dad was kind of pretty much essentially on his deathbed. Maybe the last 3 months of his life. I started telling him, I mentioned last time how he started seeing people of his past that had passed away and having conversations with them. And, so he started seeing kids He said there was kids visiting him. He didn't know who the kids were. He started seeing. Then he started mentioning the seeing a dark figure, which again, if you go back to the episodes with Eric, we all know where
teeny tiny He-Man. How adorable!
We all know where this starts to kind of come into play.
Yeah. So if you're really curious as to what we're talking about, you definitely need to go back and listen to everything, the full story on some of these experiences that you're having now. Are really explained in depth back then.
So I mentioned in the last episode about my reoccurring sleep paralysis, my dreams, and how the dream that I had with Patrick asking for help, more like a nightmare. So we knew that Patrick was essentially wanting out or not realizing he was dead or something. He was trying to get attention, right? Which is why things were happening so much in the house and becoming more frequent. But as my dad was at that point where he started seeing random people that were not Patrick, there was even a point where he would say, "Oh, your mom's standing right next to you." Yeah. And my mom passed away August of last year. Yeah. So he would see my mom. He would see just random people, random things. But where it gets kind of scary is when he starts talking about, he kept seeing this dark figure, this massive dark figure. I remember I was in his room one time and he was lying down and I was just talking to him, and his eyes changed to like behind me, and he said, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Who's what?" He goes, "There's like a really big dark figure just standing behind you."
That wasn't me, was it?
I was like, "It's just not here." And that's when I was kind of like, "Oh, okay, that's weird,"
Yeah.
So it's weird because a lot of it's kind of a blur, just because you try, when shit starts going down like that, like I guess like you don't, without realizing it, you kind of like try to forget some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But I know building up to the especially last couple of weeks, my little brother and I, we really, our day jobs became taking care of my dad. He was at the point where we had to physically get him to the restroom. We had to physically help him do things that most people could do on their own. But as that progressed, the things that he said progressed, the things that he saw, the feelings that we got, the things that we were seeing progressed, right? It started getting to the point where I mentioned last time that it reminded me of being like in a crowded house. When you think about having like a party, just the feeling you get with just knowing there's like so many people in your home. Yeah. It was like that, but but you couldn't really see anything. You just feel it.
Yeah.
It was just the air around was just changed. It was different, but it was becoming like very negative. And I couldn't figure out why. I'm probably going to forget a lot of stuff here. But for the first time in many, many, many years, again, going back to when Eric used to do that shit, I was starting to experience things that I used to experience back then. What was it? I think was it Jason? Somebody said that they felt like they were pushed. We started again, the shower turning on, the banging on the doors, the dogs acting crazy. And then I started to see, for the first time, like figures.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to build up to like when I saw a figure, like it was crazy. But
when was the last time you saw a figure though? Years? Like decades?
Decades.
Yeah, right.
I was a teenager.
Yeah, okay.
So things were getting just really tense. We knew, this is at the end, this is when we knew that my dad, like, it was any day now that my dad was going to pass. We were just trying to spend as much time with him as we could, you know. Even when he was in hospice, so even when the hospice nurse would come in, he would tell her about all of the experiences he was having with talking to people and stuff. And she told him, you know what, you're going to start seeing a lot of people. You're going to start seeing and being visited by relatives and people you haven't thought about in years. She was like, I've been doing this work for many, many, many years, and I've seen so many people die, and everybody has very, very similar experiences.
What?
Yeah. And so I know my dad was very worried about how he was going to die. She was like, don't you worry. Like, we're in hospice. Like, you're going to go peacefully. You're not going to be like, you know, my dad was like always worried that he was going to have a sudden heart attack and that was going to be it. He was going to sit there and experience everything. And, you know, and he actually did go very peacefully. But he would talk about how he knew he was coming to an end because the people that he would speak to were, this is what he said, that they would tell him that they're trying to prepare him for when he dies, and that they were trying to get him to understand that it's okay and that it's going to happen and everything's going to be fine. And they're like he would tell me, like, they're prepping me for when my time comes. And it was really weird hearing him. You know, he would sometimes go into detail and he would talk about how he spoke to somebody and it felt like he was speaking to them for hours and hours and hours, and how he doesn't know if it was a dream or if it was real. Like, he just didn't know, you know. But for some reason, things did start getting kind of dark. Things got tense, really, really tense. And I almost felt like, because obviously that situation it's a sad situation to go through and experience, right? So I almost felt like maybe whatever it was, like maybe it was back to the thing that Eric had conjured up or whatever, was like feeding off of the situation. Mm-hmm. Like decided to like just, I don't know what, I can't tell you what it was or why it was, you know. All I can say is that, so it all, I don't want to say culminated, but there was this point where I remember that day. It was a day where Jason and I were pretty much taking turns going upstairs and just hanging out with my dad. Like, he was, I think, already at the point of not really even being able to talk anymore. And things were, you know, they were dire, you know, they were at the very, very end. And I remember I was sitting at my dining room table, and Jason was, I think he was there. I think he was in front of me. I just remember I see something out of the corner of my eye, and I turn to look, and there it is. It's the black figure with the teeth that Eric's been talking about for years. Yeah. The figure that caused Eric, according to him, to run out of the Monterey house and turn on all the lights and like not even look back because he was just terrified. It was this, I can't even describe it. I can kind of still picture it in my head.
You sent me a picture of what you had seen that day.
And I haven't even told Eric this.
Eric doesn't know about this?
I don't think I told him about it.
Wow.
But here's where it's crazy, is that I'm not an emotional person.
Yeah.
Anybody,
amen to that.
Anybody that knows me knows I don't show emotion, especially when it comes to being sad, or I don't cry. I don't do any of that shit.
Don't say I love you. Don't hug anybody.
You know, it takes a lot to get me. But here's the weird part. The moment I saw it, I instantly just like broke down in tears.
Yeah.
And could not stop. And my little brother freaked out because he doesn't see me get emotional. I was just crying hysterically, and I was just like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like myself. And I don't know why or what it was that caused that to happen. That it was just weird, but I just could not stop fucking crying after seeing it. It scared me. It scared me so much that it made me fucking cry like that.
Yeah.
It was crying out of fear.
Yeah.
Like, just like probably the most extreme fear I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Like, Out of everything that I've seen and experienced with all this shit going on, that to me, because it was so clear, it was so like right there, and it was so evil looking, dude, just like, I can't even describe it. It was just, it was like, you know, when you see monsters in the movies, and you know it's fake, but when you're like, I don't know, man, I don't know. And in my mind too, at that moment, it was like, why is he or that? Why is it here? Why is it suddenly here when my dad's about to die?
Yeah.
You know,
that was the weird part when you told me. I'm like, what the fuck?
Couldn't understand it. So I don't know. So it also makes me think about what was really weird, and it really makes me wonder now that I'm talking about it. When my dad was in the hospital the first time, when he was almost died, when he lost his leg, he told me that he saw, and the way he said it, in his words, he said, I saw the devil.
Oh.
And I was like, what do you mean? He says, all of a sudden, he was in a place where he said that it was just a bunch of people in this massive desert. A massive desert with no trees, no life, just sand. He said, and we were all naked, and we were all just like pulling ourselves across the sand, trying to get somewhere, but nobody knew where to go. And that he turned and he saw this monster and every time he would even mention it, every time, you know, he's thinking about it as he's saying it, he would just break down in tears. And he would just say how it was just the scariest thing he'd ever seen in his life. And that he knew the moment he laid eyes on it that he was looking at the devil.
What the fuck? That's what you saw?
Yeah.
Dude,
so,
wow.
And he was like, and every time, dude, like even 2 years later, I would ask him, what did you talk about, what you saw again? And the moment you can tell, you could see instantly, the moment he would picture him, my dad would start crying.
Dude, see, the crazy part about that is your dad cried, you cried from seeing something. Look, I was just chalking it up to you being a pussy. I told you this your whole life. I know you're a pussy, but now when you say that, that's crazy.
Yeah, he would break down just talking about it every time.
Does Eric know about that part?
I think so. And so, now that I'm saying that, I remember that, and that's the same thing. Like, I mean, I can talk about it now, and it doesn't make me emotional. But I think also because of what I'm going to talk about next, I think the way it all kind of unfolded. I mean, I broke down crying, man, and I couldn't stop. I must have cried for like probably a good 20-30 minutes, just like uncontrollably crying. And it was just like fear, unadulterated fear. Like, it was crazy. I can't describe it. And to somebody that has never experienced it or maybe doesn't believe it, I know it's like sounds very out there and far-fetched and weird, but not until you experience that can you understand it. I don't know. It was weird, man. It was really kind of also, again, it was like, why is this here? Why is this here now? I also thought back to when Eric did all that shit and we were using the Ouija board and it was throwing the stuff down the stairs at us when we were younger. I remember it's saying that I was going to have, it pretty much said in so many words, it was here to like torment anybody and everybody around Eric until they got what they wanted, which was Eric, right? So I started thinking like, maybe, okay, actually, you know what? I'm not going to get into that yet.
The crazy part is
I have my own little theory.
Eric is still here. I've told you want the nightmare to end? I'll kill him.
It seems to affect almost everybody except for Eric, which is weird.
I know, right? That's so crazy.
So, things were really tense, really, really fucking tense. That happened to me. It was weird, man. I can't even describe it. Again, that feeling of a lot of people in the house, hearing things, seeing things out of the corner of your eye, almost up front, sometimes doors opening. It was just so weird. But then I would go into my dad's room and it was kind of peaceful in a weird way. But anything outside, it was almost like there was like a bunch of spirits waiting around. I don't know.
Yeah.
So fucking weird. I don't even know how to describe it.
It was just a heavy feeling. In your
Yeah,
house.
super heavy feeling. Super, and everybody felt it. Everybody felt it. And so, my dad passed. I was with him when he passed, and he went very, very peacefully. And dude, almost immediately, no, not almost, like immediately after he passed, everything stopped.
Yeah.
Everything. Like nothing. Not even the little things that Patrick would do happened. Nothing.
So to this day, what are we? October?
We're in October. To this day, okay, well, hold on.
Oh.
So I spoke about my reoccurring nightmares, sleep paralysis. The weirdest thing happened about a week or two about 2 weeks after my dad passed. Everything stopped. I went into a sleep paralysis dream again, like the one I had about Patrick, right? And in this dream, I was already expecting, remember I told you I used to get lifted up and thrown around and all this stuff, right? And I was expecting the same old. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you're going to get spanked with the belt, you know what to expect. So I've gotten to the point where over the years, I mean, it's been decades of having these nightmares on a regular basis. I know what to expect. So in the dream, I expect like, oh, fuck, here it comes. I'm going to be tormented for what seems like an eternity in these dreams, right? And all of a sudden, I get lifted up like normal, but instead of being like thrown against the wall or whatever, I get dangled a little bit. It was almost like a playful dangle. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And all of a sudden, this woman appears to me, and she's telling me that I don't have to worry anymore, that thing is gone, and that it's my dad who's lifting me up and dangling me, and he's here, he's infiltrated this to let you know that everything's going to be okay. And so my dad was obsessed with Hercules, the old school Hercules movies, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I see, like in the distance, I see a shadow of my dad, but muscular, almost like Hercules, like just in the distance. And it's just like a silhouette of him, and like this overwhelming feeling of like, don't worry about it.
Your dad was buff back in the day, though.
Yeah, he was. But it was just this like a communication of like, don't worry about it. Like it's over.
Yeah.
Like it's gone. And so it was just this feeling of like, not only did he move on, he took Patrick with him, right? And whatever was tormenting me, like all along, like with Eric and everything from the very beginning, like that's gone too. Because, so we spoke to several, we've spoken to like mediums and people that do tarot cards and stuff like that since, and we've told them the story. And they all say the same thing. They were like, so when somebody's trapped like that and somebody passes away, there's many instances where they can actually like take this person with them, or spirit with them. My dad knew Patrick was there. My dad knew, we had talked about like, well, maybe he doesn't know he's here. Maybe he needs to like find a way to go to the past. And my dad used to say, well, why don't you just pray? My dad was very religious, right? Mm-hmm. So they say it's very real. It's a very real possibility that my dad was like, come on, Patrick, let's go. And took him too.
Yeah.
Because everything just fucking stopped. Everything, dude. Like, from that moment that he passed, going forward, just everything completely came to a stand. Like, just stop, man. It's so fucking weird. And then I had that dream, and that dream was just like very overwhelming to me, like in the sense of like almost just getting out of that dream with the feeling of like my dad took care of it.
Yeah.
Like he took care of it all. And then showing his strength. I don't know. It was weird, man.
So you can say, since then, nothing.
Okay.
Not a fucking blip. No.
Up until about 2 weeks ago.
What happened?
So, me and my wife started I don't know. We were like, we don't know if it's coincidence or if it's shit starting again. I don't know. Things like us just kind of sitting there, and all of a sudden, you know, there was our vacuum cleaner had been there for like a week. We had it out, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, a vacuum cleaner that has a stable base just suddenly tips over on its own, but like, and just lands like very, very loud.
I knew it. I knew it was too good to be true.
We started hearing the door opened up on us. I don't know, just little things here and there. And so we had both started noticing things happening, and we looked at each other and we were like, okay, what's going on? Is this real or is this coincidence? And we both agreed, like, it feels different. It doesn't feel like Patrick days.
Oh, man.
We don't know what.
Does it feel like deeper, like scarier,
like scary.
More malicious?
No, like scary, yeah. Like more... I'm drawing a blank right now. There's been about 4 or 5 things that have happened in the last 2 weeks. More aggressive is the way.
Now, when are you going out of town again?
3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Count me the fuck out.
Well, Jason's going to be there by himself.
Oh, thank God.
He's not going with us.
Fuck Jason. It's about time. Okay.
Woo. Oh, let me talk about my daughter.
Wait, where are you going?
Nowhere, man.
You said you're going out of town in 2 or 3
Oh, I thought you meant right now. I'm like, we're doing a podcast. I'm not going anywhere.
Just gonna get up and walk out.
Cancun.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I hope you come back.
So, we kept all this from my daughter. We didn't tell her anything. She never really said much. Oh, they're here. Sorry. So she starts listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. She said she was in class and that she decided, like, I'm bored. I'm going to listen to my dad's podcast while I work. I was like, oh, crap. You're going to get to where we talk about what's going on in the house. I was like, shit. So we were there, and I was like, I'm just going to tell you, especially now that I can tell you because it's all gone. And she looks at me and she says something about like, oh, like a black figure, a big giant black figure. Like, you mean the black figure that I've seen I don't know how many freaking times standing in that living room and standing there? And I'm like, what? And she starts talking about that. She was like, I honestly thought, she's a very mature teenager, by the way. Mm-hmm. She said, I thought I was going crazy. She goes, I started thinking like maybe there's like something wrong with me and I'm going crazy because of all the things that I'm seeing. They must be like in my head. She didn't want to tell anybody because she didn't want to sound crazy.
Right.
And just to come to find, she was seeing the exact same shit.
But the figure, when she saw it, would just stand there?
Pretty much. She said she saw a dark figure several occasions in different places in the house. But it wasn't like, she said it was just like a shadow figure.
What the fuck?
The things that I don't remember now. She was talking about she had heard things, she saw things. But she said that it was ongoing for a long time. And that she herself was just like, I can't, no, I'm just going to ignore it. It's just my imagination. Maybe I'm going crazy. But yeah, she experienced it as well. Had no idea.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about her room that always creeped me out, she has the room at the attic.
Which is the room she chose. She's a little dark herself.
Yeah.
And I know when she chose that room, it was because of the attic, even though remember when she was the grudge girl for Halloween one year? She looked just like her. Yeah. Like, she's always been a little dark herself. So, but I think, I don't know. But yeah, it is kind of creepy with the attic right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the figure is back.
I don't know, man. I haven't seen anything. We've just been getting those little experiences again.
But you yourself, like, I remember you told me when you first told me about Patrick, you were like, but you know what, man? Like, he doesn't feel like that type of ghost.
Yeah, it doesn't at all.
But this guy does.
But the things that we have experienced, they're very, like, with Patrick, it would be like a little like for example, it was always this weird thing that would happen on our door, like to our room, where it was like almost like rustling, like somebody like just like rubbing up against the door.
Yeah.
You know, and then the door would like open very gently sometimes, right? It was always very gentle.
Yeah. Wasn't like forceful.
Yeah,
fucking door
but the
slamming
last few things, they almost seem very forceful, very like, I don't know, like I said, aggressive.
Yeah, because I've heard stories like that, right? Like I like to watch paranormal shit on the History Channel and whatnot, and a lot of ghost hunters or what have you, they say the same thing. You have aggressive ghosts, you have passive ghosts, you have, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it's weird that you mentioned that you feel this one is slightly aggressive.
Yeah, and I don't know what it would be or what. Anyways, so I'm gonna go into a weird theory that I thought about.
Let's hear it.
You know, I thought about how Eric, when he was younger and he got into all this shit and he conjured up this thing, and how this thing, started tormenting us essentially. It happened to be around the same time that around that time, my parents, they got a divorce. Mm-hmm. Things started happening. Like my dad ran into like a lot of bad luck. I mean, he kind of always had bad luck. My dad had a very interesting life. My dad did a lot of fucked up shit. Some of it was not intentional, obviously, but, I think back to, my dad unintentionally killed his best friend in a car accident. They were all drunk, and my dad crashed, and he died. Anyways, I started thinking about not only my dad's past and, running with the wrong people. I mean, my dad, his best friends were like convicts and heroin addicts and, just the roughest of the rough,
Yeah.
And I started thinking, sometimes these energies, I feel like are drawn to that, are drawn to people like that. Mm-hmm. And I started thinking, what if along the way my dad picked up some sort of dark energy that kind of was always there in a what do you call when something's like asleep, like like they say, like a mountain, like it's a volcano that no longer erupts. It's what do you call it? Dormant, like in a dormant state, right? And then I feel like, okay, well, what if Eric then started to get involved in that shit? What if he woke it up?
Yeah.
What if it belonged to my dad to begin with, and my brother woke it up? And as my dad was passing, that's what it was waiting for, or it was around. And then I started thinking about my dream and him appearing. And I started thinking, well, what if my dad on the other side is like, they say when you look into that stuff, again, it's going to sound nuts to some people that don't believe any of this, but they say when you pass over, that you have roles in the afterlife. Mm-hmm. And that your role, the reason why you live lives is you're living lots of lives, you're gaining knowledge to take over to be a part of your role in the afterlife. And a role could be anything from, like, you could be the spirit or the energy that helps somebody transfer from life to death. You can be and there's a bunch of stuff, right? So I started thinking, well, maybe my dad has a powerful role in the afterlife, and maybe, I don't know, he overpowered this thing and won, and we're good, right? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you think of all this stuff and it sounds outrageous, and even me saying it out loud sounds super outrageous.
It makes sense,
but you try to rationalize, just all of this stuff, because why did that dark thing appear? And maybe Eric somehow, maybe it was there all along, and Eric just brought it to the surface, and now that my dad went, it just went with him. But then again, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's all just trying to put pieces together and try to figure out what the fuck.
I just think some things aren't meant to be.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever know.
I would just focus on the fact that it's there.
Yeah.
Grab a Padre, take him to your house ASAP. You know.
Well, I'll let you know when I'm on my deathbed. I'll be like, he's here, Adrian.
Do not turn around.
You could be like, no, that's me. I'm naked.
Right. That's just me, you big goof.
Yeah, so I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if, again, the last few things that have happened over the last couple of weeks, if they're coincidence.
Well, let me ask you this. You do a lot of research on it, right? For years, you've been intrigued on the family curse, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah.
Why have you not looked into how to truly rid yourself of it?
Well, they all say a cleansing. They all say stuff like that. And we've spoken to people who are interested in doing the cleansing, but usually sometimes like their schedule doesn't work out, or sometimes we're just like, we forget about it ourselves, and then we get together and we talk about it again, and then it just never gets done. But at the same time, I don't know, man.
Like, do you feel only you need to partake in the cleansing, or Eric needs to?
Well, that's a huge factor, Eric.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what
because
I'm saying.
I think Eric is also at the root of all this. But
so little yet so evil.
Even though we got him to talk about it last year on our podcast,
I like how he's very blasé about it, right? Like,
yeah, that's
you
what
go
I'm
back, people listen to that story, he's like, oh yeah, man, this, that, and all of us are like, us normal people would be fucking shitting themselves.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that I don't think he wants to be an active participant in it, because I don't think it disrupts his life or affects him in any way that he knows of.
Right.
You know what I mean? It might. Eric is a very... I'm not going to overanalyze. I'm not going to overthink. I'm going to live day by day in the moment. I don't need to worry about it. I don't know.
That's a superpower right there.
Yeah.
I'm already worried about next Friday. I don't even know when next Friday is. He's
an Enneagram 8. That's just kind of how they are. So I don't know. I think if we actually did he always tells me, he says, make a spirit box, man. Let's do the Ouija board.
You attempted that and you got in trouble.
I know. And that's the wife is always like, she tells me, like, I will divorce you over that. She doesn't want shit to be brought on. Which actually reminds me, I was actually watching I got that YouTube TV where they have different channels and stuff. So I haven't watched like regular live TV in forever, but I was watching the Travel Channel.
It's your fault. It's your reason. You are adding to why great things are dying.
So I started watching this show where there's a video of like a dark spirit following this guy down the stairs. And he shows up to a house. Like, the guy was showing up to look at a house. It wasn't even his house. And he walks in and he hears really loud banging, and his natural reaction is like, oh fuck, like maybe somebody needs help or something. And it's coming from like the basement area. So the guy, you see him with a flashlight, and he goes and he runs down the basement, like thinking like somebody needs help. And as he goes in, you see this like shadow follow him. And this is where, I don't know, again, I struggle. Even though I've experienced all of this stuff, I still struggle to like give legitimacy to some of these things. But you hear something tell him hi, like hi, and he fucking runs up the stairs and he slams the door shut, and he's fucking forcibly holding it shut with his hands, like, and then he's saying like, no, I can't believe, no, and he's like hysterical, and he just runs the fuck out of that house. And the guy they were interviewing was like, this guy, like, they couldn't get him to do the interview, and they were like saying that people have seen the video and they've asked him about it, and he just absolutely 100% refuses to even discuss what he saw. He will not tell anybody what he experienced. He's just like, won't even talk about it. They couldn't even get him to do the interview. So I don't know if it was real, but I mean, I don't even know why I'm mentioning this, but seeing that, like, if it is real, I understand it. You know what I mean? I don't think I've had anybody say hi. I know Daniela heard somebody say help me, which we thought was Patrick. But anyways, it's crazy shit, man.
It is, dude. It's to this very day. I mean, we've been together for a very long time, and it's still the stories. I still try to wrap my head around. I still love hearing them. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
being so close to something that I've never experienced my whole life.
Right.
It's like crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. One thing it does for me, I think one positive note that I can take out of it through everything is that it's given me no doubt in my mind and 100% that there is something after life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, even if it's dark, you know what? Like, this is beyond our knowledge and what we're able to understand and comprehend as humans, right? So obviously there's something more out there. There has to be something more out there.
I think about it every day.
You know?
Dude, one of my biggest fears is dying. Like, I don't want to.
Right.
At all.
And I think that's nature. That's
It's like we jokingly said last podcast. I'm totally down to be a vampire. To live forever? Awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah. And me, it's not that I don't like, I'm afraid of dying only because I think of like people like my daughter, where I'm like, I don't want to leave her. I'm not ready to leave her yet. She still needs guidance and stuff, right? But as far as actually like being worried about what's next, that actually gets me excited. And I think a lot of that is because of the experiences that I've had. I get excited at the thought of like, fuck, man, like, what is next? Something crazy is fucking next. I don't know what the fuck that is, but
I mean, for people like me, it's heaven, right? Like, God willing, that's where I'm going next. If it happens, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're right. It's the mystery of the unknown. That's scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And again, I think I've mentioned this before. If we knew, then people wouldn't, like you, wouldn't be religious. There wouldn't be a reason to have any sort of, how can I say it? Like, people would lose ambition. People would lose the desire to do all they can in this short life, because they would know, like, oh, that's right, it keeps going.
Yeah.
If we knew what it was, which goes back to that movie we spoke about, and I actually watched it again with it's a good fucking movie, and damn it, I forgot what it's called again. With Jason Segel. His dad creates a machine that films the afterlife, and so this guy works on this guy, and he goes into the afterlife, and he has video footage, and the word gets out that there is an afterlife. In the afterlife, they start kind of determining what your afterlife is, and so people just start killing themselves. People are like, what the fuck am I doing here? I want to go in the afterlife. And so people just start killing themselves, and so there's not a lot of people left because everybody's just offing themselves. It's a good movie. It's called let me see. Matter of fact, Justin, I think we had spoken about it. I think he had said something about it being a good movie.
Was that when we were having that black mass conversation?
I think so, yeah. It is. Oh, it's called the Discovery. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. That sounds very, very interesting. The Discovery. Oh, mother.
What? Okay. So yeah. So just to kind of, I don't know. That's what it's done for me. Is it's made me feel more confident in the fact that when we do die, there is more to it. But obviously, and this is something that I have always known, even when I used to practice like meditation and astral projection and all that stuff, or used to not mostly read up on it and research it. I read so many books on this stuff. One thing that would always come up is they would talk about how there's dark energies everywhere. There's dark things.
Son of a bitch, it's on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Cool. Just added it to my list.
And so somehow these dark things...
Not YouTube, Netflix.
Oh, okay. These dark things, I don't know. They're out there. I don't know what they are. You know?
Yeah.
Like I think, and I mentioned this maybe before, where I read one time where they said if you ever learn to astrally project and you actually go into another astral plane or whatever, you have to learn how to disguise yourself by becoming an orb, which is weird because, you know, they always talk about orbs. You become a sphere. And the reason why beings or energies should become an orb is because you become inconspicuous in another plane and less likely to be attacked by something negative, as opposed to if it's you yourself, you're just walking along or wherever, you're opening yourself up to being noticed and the ability of energy sources or whatever these things are attacking you.
I would try to orb myself into your shower every time you take a shower.
Right up my butthole. I'd be like, what? Whoa. Adrian's here.
How you doing there, buddy?
So yeah, that concludes, I think, the Halloween
I think
situation.
That's plenty. That's
Halloween situation, the evil
the cool thing about your family, the two of you being cursed, is that we're always going to have material. Next year, who knows what this segment's going to sound like.
Yeah. I wish it would do more, though. I know this sounds weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It doesn't sound weird. That's fucking... Come on, guy. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't. I mean, I think my wife would hate the fact that I just said that. It's scary, but at the same time, it's intriguing.
Yeah. No, never mind. I was going to agree with you, but it's not.
I don't know.
I mean...
Like, show yourself to me again. Like, come up to my face. Let's have a conversation.
Sit down. Let's have a chat. Dude,
no, I don't know. Why... One thing that bothers me is, like... Why pull the jump scare stuff? Like, come on. Like, why can't it just be more... I mean, some of it's pretty blatant, but again, even when I saw the figure, it was for maybe, 3-4 seconds? Like, why couldn't it be a minute of you standing there where I can look at you and be like, wow, you're one ugly mother. You know what that's from?
The Predator.
Of course.
Fucking do that.
Yeah.
Guy, you're messing... Dude, you're fucking barking up the wrong tree, my friend.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why you gotta play games?
But had he done it for a minute, you would have really cried.
I would have shit my pants.
Wait, look.
I would have shit my pants, but you know what? I would have been able to pull out my cell phone and been like...
That's not you, though.
So, I think that also adds to where, like, skeptics out there...
Yeah.
And that's me being a skeptic, even though I've experienced all this stuff. You've got to look at things objectively, no matter what.
Yeah.
And even though it was blatant, even though it was right there, it's like, why? Why let me see you for 3 or 4 seconds? Why bump on the fucking wall? Why not just fucking be like, look, it's me, motherfucker, and I'm about to kick you in the balls?
Well, it's kind of like when I just put it in real quick.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to wait for later, dude.
Exactly.
I don't give you the full show right now.
Exactly what I mean.
This is a taste for later.
Or it's like when I spritz you and I tell you just to lie down and let me take some photos. You know?
Hey, have you hooked over your mannequin yet? Jeffrey Dahmer style?
I did, but it wasn't fleshy enough.
Oh, damn it.
So anybody listening, I bought a mannequin and I dressed it up like Michael Myers and put it in my window.
Yeah, but this fucker sends me a picture of the mannequin naked with just a Michael Myers mask. I was like, man, I'm oddly turned on right now.
Oh, man. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Well, it's creepy. I have a feeling it's only going to get creepier.
It might.
So, like I said, good thing is we'll always have material. Depending on how hairy it gets, we might bring it up.
I tend to shave, so...
yes, dude. I forever remember that about your dad.
What?
I think about your dad in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you told him... did we tell the story on
Maybe,
podcast?
But say it again.
You shaved your balls one time, and you nicked yourself. And your dad is fucking hysterically laughing. And he says, well, why the hell would you shave your bees? This was like mid to late 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
Ever since then, I refer to them as my son.
Yeah.
As he's growing up, I don't call him his testicles since he was a baby. You got to protect your bees, man, at all costs. So when he was a little kid or something happened, he'd go, oh, Dad, my bees feel weird.
That's awesome.
The Arianos have adopted the word, the bees.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's it, folks. Thank you for joining in on our Halloween special. Today is Halloween. Everybody be careful out there. Have fun.
Yes. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Fucking tomorrow. Yeah. It doesn't end either. Tomorrow I'm going to be at Spirit. Once they open up, I'm going to get all those fucking sales.
Dude, me too.
Yeah.
I have to.
I'm already planning for next year, man.
Yeah.
I've been planning for next year before even today.
Exactly, dude. Halloween does not stop in my mind. My toy channel, Plastic Realm Toys, had a great, pretty successful run.
Yeah,
For people that don't know, I did 31 days of Halloween. Tonight is the big reveal. My ultimate action horror figure that I've been holding on to.
Your last one was that little trick-or-treat guy, right?
Yeah, Sam. Yeah. I did 2 Sams this month. But yeah, so all month long I premiered nothing but horror toys every day. Tonight's the grand finale, the big one. I'm going to do it again next year because I have that many horror toys. But I don't even know why I mentioned that.
No, because we're talking about how much we love Halloween.
Oh.
And like even myself, like I filmed a lot of what I experienced at Horror Nights at Universal, and I put little shorts up there just to kind of, again, part of that is like, it doesn't even go on my channel, but I love Halloween so much. I just want to, it gets me excited to see that stuff. Yeah. I want to help other people feel excited about it. I mean, not everybody obviously likes it to the level that we do, but to me, it's exciting. It's like 1 month of the year that you can really like get excited like this about horror shit.
Yeah. And to me, it kicks off holiday season, right? Like, can't wait for Thanksgiving. Obviously, Christmas is amazing, so just a great time of year. But yes, everybody tonight, be careful. You and your little ones, be cautious. Check your candy.
No, don't check your candy. Why check your candy?
You're supposed to check it every year.
No, you're not. Dude, nobody puts razors in candy and nobody puts drugs. Because if they did put drugs, I would be going trick-or-treating myself.
Thank you. No one's talking about free drugs. Talking about poisoning people.
Who's going to do that? Oh. And how are you going to know there's poison in there, Adrian?
Dude, I got a method. So if it's packed, right? If those little packages, right? Like a Snickers, a Kit Kat, if you squeeze it, and you feel it has air in there, it's unfucked with. If you squeeze it and there's no air, you toss that bitch because you don't know if there's a punctured hole somewhere.
Keep doing the squeezing motion.
I just
now move your hand up and down a little bit as you do.
I just filmed your hands. Be on the lookout on our whatever page we have. You're gonna get to see what I'm talking about, Paul's hands. But yeah, if you squeeze it and it's got air in it, it's unfucked with. If the air is popped, you don't want to chance it.
No, to me, if the air's popped, that just means that it's from last year's Halloween, and these are cheapskates.
You're probably right. Save that shit for next year, honey. Nasty bastards.
I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that a lot of the shit that we were brought up being told about Halloween candy is such fucking bullshit.
I don't chance it when it comes to my kids, dude. They get mad because all the shit that I say, nope, you can't have this one, you can't have this one, and I'm the one eating it the next day. I thought you threw that away.
I think I'm gonna have a candy hangover tomorrow.
But you're supposed to.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Be safe. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.